So this week, democracy doesn't seem to be the main thing on their mind. Who knows what they want to do in Iran? They're going ahead with changing local elections when no one asked for it and they didn't campaign on it. And they've just gone ahead with the Chinese embassy. Why do they think they know better? Surely these have to go to the people.
I hear what the Minister has said, but I'm not reassured, and neither are our partners. We've now had interventions from the Dutch government, Swiss Parliament, Swedish Parliament, and 2 interventions from the White House about the risks that pose to UK infrastructure by the cabling that runs along the Royal Mint Court.
Next is about unequal funding to different constituencies.
Early access costs money. Last year, children with special needs in East Riding of Yorkshire were funded to less than £1,000 per capita, the lowest in England. Camden received £3,565 a head. The government's grant proposals increase East Yorkshire by £30 a head. They increase Camden by £267 a head, nearly 10 times as much. How on earth does the Secretary of State expect East Yorkshire to provide anything, early access or anything else, when funding is as tight as that?
Generally. Mr. Speaker, one of the last meetings that I took as Shadow Justice Secretary was with the parents of Lenny Scott. Lenny Scott was an exceptionally brave prison officer. He uncovered corruption in his prison. He left the service, and years later he was hunted down and brutally murdered. Because he died after leaving active service, there was never any compensation paid to the children that he left behind. I know the Prime Minister would want to right this wrong.
He said he'd meet with him urgently.
I'm very glad to hear the Prime Minister say that. We all know that the people of Greenland do not want to be ruled by America. But does he agree that just as those in Greenland should decide their own future, so should the Chagossians?
Mr. Speaker, I've made out my position on Greenland absolutely clear on Monday and a moment ago. President Trump deployed words on Chagos yesterday that were different to his previous words of welcome and support.
Talks about Trump rather than talking about the Chagossians protests. Next, the reason for delaying the Hillsborough law.
To work with the families. We will continue to listen. We will continue to work with the intelligence services and other partners to ensure that this bill is brought back to the House when it is fit and proper.
They're the ones who said they were going to bring it. Then they took it away. Any argument, even when they're in the wrong, they just make it an emotional one. Next, about the soldiers who are in Northern Ireland.
Later today, my party will vote to protect our veterans from unfair prosecution. He is ordering his MPs to vote against them. Prime Minister, do the right thing and vote in support of our veterans, not against them.
Putting in place proper measures to protect them.
I literally have no idea what those proper measures are. Let's see how it pans out. Lastly, Labour's moving to centralise more power.
This government was elected on a promise to repair the broken foundations of local government. In 2024, councils were on the brink financially, while a third of the country was left paying for the wasteful duplication of 2 tiers of councils for their area.
Defo weren't elected on that, not in the manifesto.
3.7 million people are being denied the right to vote. It was the government who rushed through a huge programme of local government reorganisation, imposing new structures and timetables. Did he write to councils, asking them to ask him to cancel the elections? And why, when they didn't give him the answer that he wanted, did he write to them again, asking basically the same question? Why was his department putting pressure on councils to ask for cancellations as late as last night? I know why. He knows why. We all know why. It's because he wants to shift the blame. He wants to say, I didn't make them do it.
First of all, the Secretary of State stopped saying this is a locally led process. The power rests solely with him, and each of these delays is his decision and his decision alone.
And he's trying to claim precedent in his speech, as his minister did on Monday. But the scale and scope of these cancellations is totally unprecedented. So I ask him directly, what was it about the Labour Party's collapse in the opinion polls that first attracted him to the cancellation of local elections? Is he as unsurprised as I am that the vast bulk of councils asking for their elections to be scrapped are Labour-run councils? I'll give you notice. These benches will vote against Prime Minister assured us and promised us that none of the then delays would be for more than a year. And yet 5 of the current 29 that are going to be delayed are from last year. And 21 of the 29 are Labour-controlled councils.
The real question here is why to delay for a second year? When I was Secretary of State, the legal advice that I received, including from Sir James Eadie, the government's chief legal advisor, was that it was not legally sustainable to delay for a second year. Hence, we didn't. Even during COVID, we kept the elections going, did not delay for 2 years. What the Secretary of State is doing is almost certainly illegal. If he's so confident of his position, publish his legal advice and publish the legal advice that I received and the Prime Minister when we decided not to delay for a second year. Then we might be able to have faith in what he's saying.
The main principle here is less smaller councils and having fewer but bigger councils, and the people in charge are more detached from the voters and therefore closer to government, meaning there's less people with a say. For me, this is a clear sign of a step towards globalism rather than localism.